The other day on my way to Mass, I heard a song come on my radio. One of the lyrics was, "The world loves a hero," or the world wants a hero. And I started to think about being a hero, how many times I've daydreamed about it. And I realized that I never wanted to pay the full price. I always put a little bit down. I'd tease myself with the thoughts. I put myself out there a little bit, but never committed. That's not to say that I don't make advancements, but when I make advancements, I remember a scene in a movie where these guys were picked for this assignment, and they had to go through some physical training. And one of them was climbing this rope. And there was this one guy that he couldn't do it. He'd start climbing, and you could tell he looked a little bit out of shape and a little heavy and lazy. So he would climb up about 5 feet and then start whining about how hard it was, and he couldn't, and he'd drop down. So this particular day, the trainer had a it was a Thompson submachine gun. And as this guy got halfway up the ladder, and the rope, and he started to whine, the guy took the machine gun and shot the bottom part of the rope off. And it scared the guy so bad he kept going up, and the guy would shoot the rope off as he got, and finally he made it all the way to the top. And I realized that the reason that was significant to me is because that's the way I make my progress. I have to make sure that there's no way for me to retreat. It's like the Vikings I read about. When they landed in England, they'd burn their ships or dismantle them. Or when an advancing force goes forward, it burns its bridges behind it so it can't retreat. I find that's the way I make my progress. And needless to say, my meeting with John didn't go as I would have hoped. I didn't meet the Good Shepherd. I was treated as if I was church business. John seems to think that that's what he's there for, to manage the church and to fulfill the wishes of his superior. He's not so much there to listen to the concerns of his parishioners. As I presented my facts, or my thoughts, I believe that the church needs a group that is allowed to form its own ideas, its thoughts, and to be able to express them to another thought, primarily the church and the prevailing thought amongst the church. And as we come up with an idea, we wish to be heard and to reason out an answer that is acceptable to all and not just to the Vatican or most parishioners fail to realize that the church belongs to them. The church is within them, and that they have a right to complain and to ask questions and to understand, and not to be told what we need to understand. If we come up with a thought that's out in left field, somebody should be there to help us come back to the center of the field. And we don't have that in this church. I haven't found it. All I find is no's and I can't help you. I don't know who to send you to. That's not the church mission. Tons of reasons why not. Very little help, and let me see what we can do. So there's where I stand. The gospel of the day says, love your enemies, because if you love those that do good to you, how different are you from anyone else? I've had 5 months of dealings with John and others in the group, and I've arrived at my understanding and my awareness, and I'm not pleased with what I saw. I'd like to talk about it, but nobody wants to listen. So I have to figure out how to make myself a voice that cannot be ignored. And I have to learn how to express it with love. Because I've found many ways of, if I was interacting with these people personally, that they have shown me their flaws and their errors in their reasoning. But I don't want to attack them for the sake of attacking them. I want to be able to do it in a manner where everyone is satisfied. So I have to retreat into myself until I feel comfortable. I go to church now and I feel like Tommy Streeter and John Carlos in the '68 Olympics. And I hold myself in protest. It was funny the other day, while the church was saying parts that I don't agree with, I consciously blocked it out. But somewhere in the back part of me, I could hear myself reciting the prayers. So some part of me is still subject to the conditioning. Maybe when I touch that, I'll find out a different way of being.